Hey there, Cheesemeisters, and welcome back to the Peach Pod. That would have been Alice's Restaurant, the greatest Thanksgiving song ever, because there was no music in this episode. I am Jeff, and hi, Miss Sanders. And joining me on the other end of the internet is my cuz-host.
I'm Leslie, and I didn't do it because I thought it was cool.
It was cool, though. I mean, everything's cool that Dylan does. This week, Cheesemeisters, we are discussing Season 3, Episode 15, The Kindness of Strangers. Original air date November 25th, 19 and whatever year that was, 92. Yeah. So, it's Thanksgiving time. Things are happening. Look, it's a holiday. There's two things we know 100% that are going to happen on a holiday. Too many people are coming to the Walsh house.
Yes.
And there's going to be a homeless person involved. Which is all there is to it. Everything else is totally up for grabs, but too many people are showing up at the Walshes, and there's a homeless guy. In this case, the homeless guy is Jack Canter, our buddy from the summer that met racist Brooke and forgot all about her, and met Brandon and forgot all about him, and didn't meet Henry because he didn't even bother to show up for his job interview. What an asshole. And he looks like hell again. And Brandon brings him on over.
Yeah.
And Jack gets a weekend furlough to spend time at Dylan's house instead of in prison where he belongs for being a massive fucking criminal.
Yeah.
And Steve and Samantha Sanders go to film some sort of holiday bullshit where he tells her on camera about his malfeasance. And she reacts in the most Samantha Sanders way possible.
Honestly, the one problem I don't have with that plot line is him telling her on camera. Very smart.
It was smart. Yeah, no, it totally smart. So let's start here. Did Leslie throw up in her mouth or throw something this episode?
I think I threw up in my mouth mostly at all the fucking white privilege.
The privilege galore.
The privilege galore. And yeah, it's all over the place, but let's be real. It's mostly with Steve and Samantha. I mean, could the apple could not have fallen closer to the tree. The apple's basically just hanging on another branch, like
it's still on the tree.
I hate them.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, we met Samantha before, and I thought, okay, she's got her problems, whatever, don't really care either way, but this one,
yeah.
And it started with how she treated the crew. I thought, fuck you. How dare you? You befriend the crew. The crew will treat you better than any other actor or some higher up will. You be nice to your motherfucking crew.
Proof of that, Steve got to fuck Alyssa.
Yeah.
I mean, he was nice to her, and she was nice to him.
Yeah, and I thought, oh, honey, you can do so much better, but okay.
Look, she got to work over Thanksgiving. Like, you might as well get your rocks off. That's sort of what I'm thinking. I mean, maybe she likes, like froey mullets. Maybe that's her thing. Maybe she's like, I don't sleep with anyone whose button isn't buttoned all the way up to their chin.
In his comment about toys, like, okay, you clearly know something about sex. So, because, yeah, the whole going for a younger boy thing, just not my kink.
No, but Alyssa's feeling it. So, Alyssa, by the way, previously of As the World Turns, where she played Emily, that's how I first got to know her. So when she showed up on 902, and I was like, Emily! I was doing the Leo pointing thing.
Nice.
Yeah, I was very excited to see her. And I'm excited to see her every year when I see the Thanksgiving episode. Not that I watch it every year on Thanksgiving like it's Charlie Brown or something, but
I wouldn't blame you if you did.
Right? It's a very holiday episode.
Listen, I love watching all the Friends Thanksgiving episodes, and then in a week, I'm going to be watching all the Office Christmas episodes. It's just what you do
Yeah.
to survive another year.
You lock them in. Yeah. And I mean, I kind of want to talk about that when we get to Nostalgia Corner.
Okay.
Because I think that's what I'm nostalgic for is holiday themed media.
Oh, yeah.
So we have lots to talk about there. So
Yeah,
let's stay with Samantha and Steve for a little bit. So here's what happens. Steve needs to tell Samantha he's been kicked out of school. Because we don't know this till the end, but apparently there's paperwork. Like she has to go in and sign a form or something. Otherwise, like there's no rush. Like she's gonna be gone, probably doing voiceover radio ads for Tulsa Market or wherever she was. So she won't even notice if he doesn't go to school. But there's a form. It needs to be triplicate. Signature and notarized. Whatever. So he tells her, but he's like, he tried to tell her at home, but he didn't try very hard.
no.
And so then they're going to this thing. They're shooting stars in their stars.
Escape of the Slow. I was going to say, Samantha got a new agent, and they are making her feel like she's at least B-list.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, honey, I think you would be on Kathy Griffith's, like, My Life on the D-list. Like, you'd be there.
She's down low. Yeah. She's but I mean, this is the kind of work she would be getting.
Yeah.
Like this is that like where they help I'm a celebrity, get me out of here kind of game show thing, or that
Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Squares is fucking awesome. Yeah, but I mean, but like, I don't know. Maybe I have a disproportionate view of 70s and 80s game show fame because Paul Lynde is a superstar. You know what I mean? Like Shadow Stevens in Center Square. Like I know all these people because they were on the what Match Game and the $25,000 Pyramid and all the game shows had celebrities on them, and so I know who all those celebrities are. They live large in my legend, but I think they were D-listers at the time, except for Gilbert. Whenever Gilbert was on Hollywood Squares, God bless Gilbert.
Yes.
Gilbert is forever A-list.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. So she shows up to do this thing, and she walks in expecting. Just fucking expecting. Like, is there no one to take my bags? Shouldn't I have been greeted? Who is here to lick my shoes? They are slightly dirty. And she finds, like, I don't know, a couple gaffers. Who are just like, yeah, fuck the talents here. God damn it. So they call Alyssa.
I hate being called the talent. I find it so off-putting. Like,
Mm.
just, like, yes, okay, yes, it's nice, but it's one of those things that, like, especially for the gigs I'm getting on, I just want to be like, I know where I am in the social system of things, in the class factors. Like, just it's fine.
I'm Hollywood Squares aspirant. Like, I really want to get there. Yeah, I get it. Me too. I'd love to be on Hollywood Squares. Come on. Like,
treat me nicely, but you don't have to call me the talent. It's fine.
Right. Or get my bags and carry them up the stairs. Or, I mean, Samantha fucking sucks. Like, she talks down to everybody. She expects way more than she's getting. That's it? You're just going to tell me where my room is? And I have to walk there myself?
It's a weird thing to expect of your kid too, who's not a performer and who has not expressed desire to be a performer, to have to be involved in this clearly fake as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Steve, give your mom your most heartfelt Thanksgiving blessing. What the fuck?
Yeah, look. Steve should have had some lines to read off a cue card. Yeah. Because you don't. I don't trust most professional actors to improv. I definitely don't trust Steve. Like, there's just no chance he's going to come up with the right thing to say to move the story forward that is in character.
Yeah.
Because he's just going to go off the rails, because what he realizes when talking to Alyssa is, if I tell my mom this on camera, I got a chance of not getting beat. Like, I might survive this weekend if I tell her this on camera. And he does. And it goes shockingly well.
Yeah.
Like, he gets yelled at just a little bit. You know what he is? He's like the dude. Every time he goes to tell something to the Big Lebowski. Like, sure, he yelled at me a lot, but he didn't really do anything. Like, there was no consequences for Steve, for Samantha finding out, other than getting like a tiny little ass chewing. Like, such a minor ass chewing he got. And him then presumably gets his ass eaten. Like, I mean, this whole thing goes real well for Steve. Like, he is upstairs. The toy that they brought was a rusty trombone. That's what they brought. What?
It's because she probably thought, oh man, this kid's on death row. I gotta give him a last meal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she was, I don't know. Alyssa was like, oh, a bad boy. Uh-huh.
Okay. That, I don't know if it was her struggling with the line or if, like, it was just stupid. Like, oh, you're a bad boy? Shut up. You're supposed to be the adult here. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, she likes a bad boy. But a bad boy, look, there's no bad boy in the history of bad boys that has buttoned his collar all the way up to his neck.
No, and Steve wishes he was a bad boy.
He does. He is Dylan aspirant. Like,
he's milk toast bad boy.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah, he tried cybercrime. That's his bad boy. Like,
he couldn't even do it alone, you know?
Yeah. Yep. He had to get a nerd to help him.
Yeah.
What kind of bad boy are you if you're talking to nerds? Jerkweed. And then at the end of the episode, Samantha goes and has a heart-to-heart with Mrs. Teasley.
Oh, is that what she does?
I don't know what happened in there, because
I'm scared what might have happened in there.
Do you think she threatened Mrs. Teasley? Because I don't think that would have gone over well. I don't think Mrs. Teasley would have handled the threat. I think Mrs. Teasley would have said, sit and spin, bitch.
I hope so. Mrs. Teasley, the look on her face was one of, I enjoyed one day of my holiday break, and then the rest of it I spent mentally preparing for you, because I know a Karen when I see one.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this isn't going to be fun.
Even if Samantha didn't say some outright racist bullshit, I definitely think some microaggressive stuff happened in there.
I think probably. But I mostly think Mrs. Teasley knows, because of where she works and who the parents in her school are, that this expulsion will not stand. She knows from the start she's going to have to come up with something else. And if she doesn't, Samantha Sanders is going to burn down the building. Because, or maybe she gets by Samantha Sanders, and the next parent who she tried to discipline their child comes in, and this is Mrs. Teasley's day. All day, every day, is trying really hard to discipline these kids, and then having to talk to their parents about it, and then giving up. So I think she prepared herself and was able to handle. Samantha Sanders, for all of her bluster, I feel like is easy to handle. You know?
Probably.
I think she's such an ego queen that if you just stroke it a little bit, as long as she feels like she's getting what she wants, she's a kitten. You know? She'll just be fine.
But detention is certainly not enough. And only being kept until 4:45.
Right. Yeah. Double detention, though, because he has to get there early.
I think he should have to log some volunteer hours too. Hell, he should have to take Hutch. Well, I don't want Hutch to get off scot-free because he's not, completely innocent in this either. However, I think Steve definitely should have to clean the toilets.
That'd be nice with a toothbrush.
Locker room duty.
Yeah, that'd be good. What if his job was to stand there outside the shower and hand towels to naked boys, like in Just One of the Guys? What if that was his job?
Absolutely. I love this.
I don't think that's a punishment. I think that's hot. Look at all them wangs, Steve. Don't you love it? I don't know. I think Steve, he'd be having a good time.
Stick the wrestling crew on him.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, make him go talk to the track team that he ratted out accidentally.
Oh, yeah, it was track.
Yeah, it was track. Yeah. Yep.
You know why I thought wrestling? Because they were all...
Yeah, they were big, strong men.
All for track?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, look, Kyle and Tony Miller, they care about their bodies.
Well, yeah, he's got to be running for zombies.
Yeah, Tony Miller kind of wants his body to be roundish, but he cares about it. He's cool with that. He's like, no, this is right. This is what Tony Millers look like. I'm telling you right now. So Steve gets off fucking scot-free, which it's fucking gross. And speaking of not having any consequences, Jack McKay gets let out of prison for the weekend to go drink Johnny Walker Black. Okay, real quick. It is Black Label, but Black Label's the cheap shit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've never had it.
I mean, Black Label's fine. It's blended.
Let me clarify for a minute. Not to say I'm above cheap shit. I just want to clarify. I just haven't had Black Label.
Understood. Johnny Walker Black is fine. Like, I'm not a blended Scotch guy. I'd rather have not a blend, but I'd also rather have bourbon than Scotch. So there's that.
Same.
Yeah, but I guess Jack is broke because Jack, based on what we know about him, is a Johnny Walker Blue guy. He wants Blue Label. Blue Label, I don't know what Blue Label cost in 1992. Now Blue Label is about $250 a bottle. Yeah, it's pricey. It's worth it. It's really good. It's very smooth. It is very smooth. It's so good that I like it. And again, not a big Scotch guy, but it's really good.
Yeah.
Jack would be drinking Blue Label if he could afford it. So I almost don't buy that he's drinking Johnny Walker Black, but whatever. He's drinking.
He's of the people now. He's been in prison. He's been getting down and dirty.
I mean, if he really wanted to feel his prison roots, why isn't he making up gin in the bathtub? Why isn't he Miss Hanniganing this shit?
Toilet wine.
He should be doing. Yeah, exactly. Gross. But not only does Jack want to drink, Jack wants to bone. So he's out. He's staying at Dylan's. He has to stay at Dylan's because if Dylan had call forwarding, it would be all over. It's so great, the pre-cell phone-ness of this. And they don't have ankle bracelets at all, apparently, in 1992. Like, you can just, come on back whenever you're ready.
Right.
I mean, look, it's not like that exact thing didn't cost Michael Dukakis the election in 1998, but here we are.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, Google up Willie Horton. That's all you gotta do. It's the whole thing. And so Jack gets out and he and Dylan fight, and then Christine comes over and she tells Dylan not to be an asshole. Debatable whether Dylan's being an asshole or not. Or whether Jack's being an asshole.
Oh, this is the one time, at least recently, that I was like, yes, you absolutely are justified in your anger. And I'm seeing it was a good reminder episode. It's like they knew people were going to be pissed at Dylan, hopefully. And they went,
right.
Hey, but remember why he is the way he is? And oh, yes, I do. You have not learned what accountability is.
Well, he's not learning it here either, because he tries to be like, no, Jack, you cannot have a lady come over to fuck you in my bed. And that he holds
later on.
Yeah. He holds strong to that until like 10 a.m. the next morning. And he's like, whatever, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Like, let's just play Monopoly and then you can go have sex. And then Brandon sees Jack Canter again when he's at the Peach Pit working. And it's did we mention it was raining? It's raining very hard.
It's a monsoon.
Yeah, it is.
Shout out to costumes and all the drying they had to do.
Yeah.
Makeup, hair, just applause for that team, because that had to suck.
I mean, applause to Brandon for going outside more than once in this episode. Like, he got drenched at least 3 times. Like, this is a suck week. If you're a cast member of this show, you're just getting wet, like, all the time.
Yeah.
It just sucks. Like, even inside, you know? Like, you can't even go inside Casa Walsh and avoid getting just drenched.
Yeah.
So, it's rainy. And Brandon sees Jack dumpster diving and brings him into the pit, gives him some money, gives him some food, and tries to get him to go to a shelter. But Jack won't have it. Jack's like, if I go there, I become one of them.
It's too much.
Yeah. It's like, I don't have any hope if that's what I do. There's a line in the sand for Jack that is largely pride driven, but he can't cross it.
Yeah.
And so Brandon invites him over, and that goes about as well as you would expect, because I know Jim's got a bug up his ass about Vietnam still. And Jack is like, oh, I'm a veteran. Everything sucks. You guys suck. You're all entitled and privileged, and where's your sandwich? And now the cable's out, and I'm on the street, motherfuckers.
But he said it in the gentlest way possible. He did what we now call, instead of calling out, it's calling in. And he definitely did that. And I don't know, it's one of those, I watched it and I thought, yeah, this is uncomfortable, but he's also telling these people something they need to hear.
Yeah, I guess. Except for, like, do they really need to hear it from you in their house on Thanksgiving when they were just being nice and invited you in? You know, like, they weren't like, you know what I'd like for Thanksgiving? A lecture.
Okay, but people talk every year. More and more, again, things get blown up on social media, but don't people expect things to get awkward?
Well, so, okay. So that's one of the things I think this episode is about. Really about. I think this episode is about how hard it is to invite people into your home on Thanksgiving. Because it is, like, it's really hard for Jim. Because Jim is like, it's hard to get a read on Jim as a human being sometimes, but I think he's actually pretty consistent. Because Jim, at heart, wants to be open-hearted. He wants to let Brenda bring in that dog that won't stop barking, even though he threw his back out. He wants to let Brenda bring in the homeless Santa. He wants to let Brandon bring in this homeless dude on Thanksgiving. But every time he's presented with one of these things, he thinks, I'm a homeowner. And I have family to protect, and these are threats to the sanctity of my home. Now, why he doesn't hold the same opinion of the rain, I don't know. Where he's just like, well, I guess we're going to get wet.
I guess we're having rain with our dinner.
Yeah, Jim treats roof maintenance like Iris McKay treats parenting. Like, he hasn't tried shit. He's ready to throw some money at it, but he has no ideas. He's like, well, I guess we're just stuck with this until
I know. I was
December.
baffled by that as well. I thought, really? You're in LA, you know?
Yeah,
It's not like you're anywhere else where people might already be shutting down business days
right.
before Thanksgiving because it's just how we operate. Like, at least in the big cities, you know, there will be someone who is still going because either they don't give a fuck or they're willing to be open until like the day.
Right. Yeah, there are people who don't have family obligations on holidays.
There is a bakery down the street from me that's going to be open until 5 p.m. on Thanksgiving. And I'm like, well, that's a record. As someone who's
Yeah,
worked on that day, I've never worked that late on that day.
that's tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but like when I was in my early 20s and living in Chicago and not near family, if I wasn't traveling for a holiday, and not Thanksgiving or Christmas, I would go home for that. But like I'd work every 4th of July. What do I care? I don't have any plans. You know?
Yeah, but no one is coming in on, I'm going to say it, smaller holidays like that
Hmm.
and going, oh, they have you working.
Right.
You know,
Although I worked a Thanksgiving and a Christmas when I worked at the hotels, because hotels are open every day of the year. There's no days off.
I worked them too in coffee. And honestly, kind of the best day to work just because people people only want to be nice this time of year. And some people only want to be nice on those days.
Right. Yeah.
And
I'm out of nice.
thank you for the $20 bill tips.
Right.
Also, here's a tip: try to be nice other times in the year.
You can
Um,
expand it.
it will go far. I know Santa's not watching you because you're an adult now, but like,
Right.
you know, just be nice all year or when you can.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Um, it's also hard for Dylan to invite his dad into the house at Thanksgiving.
I mean, wouldn't it be for you?
And
Jack's a dick.
Jack's a super dick. Um, and Dylan's trying, I suppose. Um, he lets his dad drink, and he lets his dad bone, and like he plays Monopoly, which is a fun game but can take a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's a certain point in Monopoly where you just run out of gas,
Yes.
and you're just like, whew. That's why I love playing Monopoly on my phone. It goes very fast.
You
Like,
play it on your phone?
sure, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's great because you get all of the Monopoly of it without the stuff that takes forever, which is like counting out change and like that stuff. It's like, ugh. But it's way easier online. It goes much faster. Instead of taking an hour, a game of Monopoly takes like 15 minutes. It's great.
Wow.
Yeah, but Dylan is struggling with his house guest. Alyssa has to have this asshole and her child into her fake house for Thanksgiving, and the whole thing is difficult for her. Like, except for I don't know. I'm not sure. She's done with Samantha like from the second she talks to her, but she's like, I think I can probably fuck her kid.
Oh my god.
And I think I'm just gonna do that this weekend. Like maybe that's what the PA does on every set. They're like, who can I fuck? It's him or a grip. I'm going with him.
Not the most toxic person on a set, but limited experience here.
I mean, she's out there making people happy. You know? She's making herself happy, she's making Steve happy. She's trying to I love the way she handles Samantha. Like, if we don't get this shot, we're gonna go into double time and I'm going to get fired.
Yeah.
And Samantha, to her credit, is like, of course. Like Samantha is a demanding diva, but she's also a professional. She wants to make the day. And she understands that there are people working on Thanksgiving to put this bullshit program on, and she's going to go deliver. She's not going to make them wait. So, consummate professional there, Samantha. This is what happens when you work on a sitcom for 10 years or however long the Hartley House was on TV.
Yeah.
You know how to do the job. You also know how to be a preening diva, but you know how to do the job.
Yeah.
So, good.
I feel like they I want to acknowledge, I feel like they really wanted us to get that this episode is about how, you know, even the smallest act of kindness to someone can make a
Hmm.
big difference. We see Dylan try with his dad.
Hmm.
Obviously there's the big one with Jack Canner.
Hmm.
I'm just going to put it out there too in case people need a reminder. Like, again, you don't have to invite strangers into your home to be kind. I don't think every stranger or every homeless person is going to feel comfortable doing that,
Right.
especially nowadays. Like, there are many other ways.
Yeah.
um I'm trying to think who else. Anyway,
No,
that's what I think.
Alyssa was kind.
Yeah, Alyssa was kind and, gave Steve the best weekend of his life when
Hmm.
it deserved to be the worst.
Hmm. Yeah,
Anyway, that's what they
Matt
want
was
us to think.
kind. Brandon was kind. Like, the, yeah, the episode is about. It's even called "The Kindness of Strangers." They want that to be the message.
But what I think it's really about is how these kids are a reflection of their parents. And it's
Yeah.
scary because
Hmm.
Steve is entitled as hell.
Yep.
He is not learning. He's not facing any repercussions really. Again, detention is nothing.
Mm-mm.
It's nothing.
Yep.
Um,
Double detention is double nothing.
yeah, and like also he got laid this weekend,
Yes, he did.
so
Yeah.
not that anyone could have prevented that other than if maybe Samantha tried to parent, she would have been like, "No, lock in your room. No one's getting in. I'm gonna pay these gaffers extra and block your room."
Yeah.
Um,
Have them tape it off.
Dylan
I know they have tape.
Dylan learns nothing. I mean, he wasn't going to learn anything from Jack this weekend. Like,
Right.
he tries with Jack, but then the behavior he displays when he comes back to school and kisses Kelly and Brenda,
Yeah.
butt
Um. Yeah. I think in line with what you're saying, I think that this is one of the things this episode is about is how there are no consequences. Like,
yeah.
Steve
And
gets none, except for some. He gets some. He gets some.
hey,
Jack gets let out of jail just to go drink and bone. Like, that's not
it's not a thing.
it's not a thing. It's not a consequence. Um like Jim tries to throw this guy out in the rain, and immediately his ceiling collapses, which like is almost a consequence, but because this guy hadn't left yet, no consequences, tarps.
Yeah.
This guy fixed your problem. Like, you were kind of an asshole. Jack, no consequences for like leaving his family, other than being homeless, which I guess is a consequence. But if you're not homeless, you don't meet Brandon twice.
Kelly is still facing no consequences for cheating with Dylan.
Yep.
Um, obviously on the lighter side, Brenda and Brandon are a reflection of, their Midwestern parents who want to be good people and be open and, be the good example for their LA brethren.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah,
They're a reflection of Cindy in this episode, not of Jim.
that's fair. I feel like Jim is so torn between who he wants to be and who he feels like he's supposed to be as the breadwinner and the man.
Yes. Jim's a mess because he and I texted you this. Like, if your position is I don't want to be painted as the bad guy in this story, that means you're acting like the bad guy and you know it. Like, Jim is being a dick.
Yeah.
Like, across the board being a dick. And the only thing that's stopping him from doing what he wants to do, which is throw this guy out in the rain, is Cindy, basically. Like, Cindy talking him down, Cindy saying, just, relax. It's fine. Like, I know that it upsets you that he served and you didn't. Even though your dad is very much alive and Brandon has very much met this man and he's very much going to be there next year for at least one episode. So,
Oh my
like,
god.
whatever. Yeah. sometimes the writers remember shit and sometimes they forget. And that is one of the things they forgot. I want to talk a little bit, I think, about the Kelly and Brenda and Dylan of it all. Because I
Please.
find, like, we've been building this whole thing since Sauvel de Vous. You know, like it's been going this whole time where it's coming to a head. This love triangle situation, it's gonna go bad, and then it kind of Mr. Rick shows up, and we can't even rent porn, and then we go to the same restaurant, and we see each other, and oh no! But Rick plays the keyboards. Ew. And so Rick's gone, and like, and then Dylan leaves, and it takes all the air out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it kind of makes you forget what's happening because he's gone last week, dealing with the Borg Queen and her horses. Yeah. And this week he's still gone. Like, they don't know where he is, and doing his own thing. And in the meantime, Brenda and Kelly are best friends again, as if literally nothing happened.
Yep.
It makes no sense. So you don't feel like there's a... When he shows up in the school hallway and kisses Kelly and then kisses Brenda on the forehead, which, by the way, who do you think he really wants to be with? Look at where he kisses him.
No, I noted it.
Yeah. But, like, what are we doing? What did we do these last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I don't know, because it feels like he wants to stir up the drama again. The girls just, I don't know, they're tired of being mad at each other. Like, it's again, people who don't want to deal with shit. They would rather just say, I'm sorry, I forgive you, and move on. But of course, what's going to happen is they haven't dealt with anything. So, you know, you're sewing over something, but the rip is still there. You haven't mended it at all. You've just sewn two pieces back together. Like,
but the problem is we don't see the seam. You know, like there's no undercurrent to the interactions between Brenda and Kelly. Mm-hmm. There's no, like, everything's just legit okay. Except for she's like, I don't want to stir anything up, but do you know where Dylan is going to be? But there's never, no one there acts like she's stirring something up. They're just like, nah, I don't know where he's going to be. I don't either. I don't really care. And Donna's like, bullshit. But that's it.
Maybe Brenda's insistence on Kelly being at Thanksgiving was to make sure that Kelly wasn't off with Dylan somewhere. Like,
maybe, but they don't play it that way.
I know, but I just think, I mean, one, I hated that they wouldn't let Kelly be alone. Like, let her live her life, but no one can be an introvert on this show.
Nope. You got to come over here and talk to this homeless dude.
Donna says, why don't I believe you two? So maybe they're, you know, we can add that in for ourselves and make it a more interesting story.
Yeah. It just, I wish it was there.
Yeah.
I wish it was on the screen. Because it's just not. And it's
everyone has to be friendly for Thanksgiving and Christmas. No one can be mad at each other.
Right. Well, next week it's Christmas and people are mad at each other, and it's awesome. And it's also I think you're gonna love next week's episode because there is so much interpersonal drama and the silliest shit you've ever seen. So I'm so excited for It's a Totally Happening Life. Another thing that's clearly going on in this episode is that the only punishment for crime is sex. Like, you commit a crime, you're getting laid. Like, that's all there is to it. Steve does it. Alyssa. Jack does it. What the fuck, Christine? I know Christine's name. This isn't the only time. But, like, she's blanked. Oh yeah, Christine comes back.
Dylan.
But it's a weird message. Like, not only do you get
Yeah,
away with it, but you get some.
it's messed up.
It is messed up.
It's really messed up.
And this episode is so it's not very much about the kids.
No.
You know, this is a parent-centric episode. Like, this is Samantha and Jim and Cindy and Jack all being like, they're kind of reacting to what their kids are doing, because like Steve did some shit and now Samantha's got to deal with it, and Brandon brought a homeless person over and now Jim's got to deal with it. But it's their reactions that are driving everything, and it all comes from however wounded they are as people. You know,
the kids are forcing their parents to deal with some internal dilemma of like, do I be better? Do I try to be better for my kid? Or am I too old, too tired to change? Is
right.
the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah. I mean, these parents are 40 at this point. Like, they're not old. Younger than me.
It's 97, I'm not old.
That's right. Could have called you man. You were called Dennis.
I don't want to take away from this, but I do have an important question to pose.
Pose it. Bring the question.
So, Thanksgiving Day.
Yes.
Do you snack leading up to it?
Ah.
Or do you starve yourself? So,
gotcha.
Because you think that's how you're going to be able to eat all you want.
Yeah. So the answer is different now than it used to be.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I would just eat just fucking everything. But we also had 2 meals. Like, we would do, when I was a kid, we would do early Thanksgiving on the Spitznagel side.
Yep.
And then we would do Thanksgiving dinner on the Taylor side.
Nice.
So there was a lot of fucking food. And I knew what things I wanted the most at each place. So I would make sure, and mostly that was stuffing in both places, to be honest. It's just, give me wet bread. I love it. It's so gross, but I love stuffing. And on the Taylor side, my grandma used to make it with raisins and apples. And like, the raisins would get real fat and plump from all the moisture. It was really good. So there would be that. But then, like, I mean, you know, grandma, she makes pies.
Yeah.
So many good pies. So I would kind of only eat those 2 meals. Now we just have the one, and we do it at like 1.
Yeah.
You know, it's like an early afternoon kind of situation. And usually I don't eat until like 11 anyway. So like that, if we ate at like noon, I would be just like, I'm not even going to bother. But one can push into cranky land. Like, if I haven't had anything by 1, it's probably not great.
Cool.
So I'll have a little something at like 11, just so that I'm not a grumpus.
Nice.
How about you? How do you approach tactically the meal?
I'm going to use because I have such a variety of answers. It's mostly snacking, to make a long answer short. Like, you know, I mean, I was a picky eater growing up, so Thanksgiving used to be one of the worst days because it was very hard to hide.
Thursday?
Huh?
I said Thanksgiving was the worst day. Now you drink champagne when you're thirsty.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a Biggie lyric, FYI.
I know. I know the lyric. I just didn't know the rapper. But yeah, so I used to really I used to struggle that day because I couldn't hide the food that I didn't want to eat. And yeah, and I wish I could go back in time and kick that girl's butt, because 1, it's going to start off a whole series of family thinking you're starving yourself.
Yeah.
And then and you're missing out on stuffing and sweet potatoes and green beans. You love that shit now. And I do. And so if I'm promised a big meal, I'm going to snack leading up to it. It's usually just me and Walter now because we're sad orphans in the big city. But we're gonna make our own stuff to have throughout the day, and it's gonna be fun. And
Nice.
yeah, since it's also us buying our own food, we are definitely not eating it all that day because it needs to
Right.
last a week.
Oh yeah. Well, you want leftovers anyhow. I mean, leftovers are 80% of the point.
It's true.
And 4% of the point is seeing relatives that you don't see all that often. So, but mostly it's about eating the leftovers.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm with you. So, anything else this episode might really have been about?
Oh man, I think we covered all things.
We covered it with a tarp so that it stopped leaking in the. I tell you what, that solution is so easy, and the fact that literally no one there was like, "Let's put some tarps on the roof." Like they live in the apartment from Barefoot in the Park. They just do. There's a hole in the glass ceiling, and it's snowing on you, and no one's putting anything over it.
They're from Minnesota, where they had and dealt with worse weather before.
Mm-hmm.
You telling me neither of them knew to cover that, or were going to try?
Yeah, the lack of effort is astonishing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to empty some pans, but meanwhile, our ceiling is rotting. Like every minute you don't cover that, the more damage is being done, the more expensive the repairs. Like, get up there and fix that shit, Jim. Put a tarp down.
Well, I guess no one's room is above that. It looked like it was some actual roof siding part that was over it, because I thought, whose room was that? But it's not.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, it must not be anybody directly above the kitchen. I don't know. But thank God for Jack Canter being there to lecture everybody and show people maps and
yeah.
Okay, Jack Canter's this episode might really be about Jack Canter's fake ass beard.
Oh my God. Yeah, his that beard was rough.
Yeah, they did a whole. They didn't show him in the light very often because if you did, you'd see how glued on that thing is. That was not great. I guess they didn't know far enough in advance that they were going to bring him back to tell him to start growing a beard.
I guess.
But, and who, maybe he's a slow beard grower, or maybe he's big patchy beard. I don't know. Not everybody is as lucky as I am.
Yeah.
Of the beard.
Walter breeds and hair grows.
Yeah. I played soccer with a guy in college once who was literally the hairiest person I'd ever met. Like midway through a shave, he would have to start shaving again.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was rough. This guy was pursuit. But I think he had special soaps to make his chest hair nice and crispy.
Oh,
it's like, as far as I can tell. All right. So, what did this episode make you nostalgic for?
Getting the newspaper on a rainy day and having to, even though it's covered in plastic. Oh, they didn't do it very well. Damn it! Now I have to lay it out so it can dry. Those were always kind of funny mornings as a kid, waking up and you see the not the dining room, but the kitchen table covered in paper.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
I like that. And the paper boy sucks.
Yeah.
I had to dig it out of the bushes. Can't even hit the porch. There you go. What this makes me nostalgic for is Thanksgiving movies and TV episodes. And this is not one of the best.
No.
There is a 90210 Thanksgiving episode that I like better than this one in season 6. Which is stupid also. Like some dumbass shit happens in that episode. But I like it. I like it more than I like this one. But what is your favorite Thanksgiving themed episode of something? Or movie? Like, do you have a favorite Thanksgiving movie?
I mean, I do love Charlie Brown, but it's not my favorite Charlie Brown because Peppermint Patty stresses me out. We've talked about this.
Yeah, she's rough.
Oh my God. Also, Justice for Franklin.
Over there, Franklin. He's this black kid I know. I'm bringing him to your house, Chuck.
there is a Thanksgiving episode on Dawson's Creek, but it's sad. And also, they're in Connecticut and they're sitting outside, so it's kind of maddening. I'm like, it's fucking freezing outside. Stop
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Yep.
I feel like, oh, I know what it is. It's the Friends episode when Brad Pitt guest stars.
Okay.
And Rachel is pregnant, and she finds out that there was an I Hate Rachel Green club in high school. It's man, it's such a great episode. There, it has one of those moments where they're all just firing on cylinders. Like,
Yeah.
you believed that? That was about you. You were the everyone at my school heard it. You were the hermaphrodite cheerleader from Long Island. Like, just everywhere, everyone.
Nice.
Great.
Nice.
Yes.
So there are. It's a short list of Thanksgiving themed media that is must for me every year. Charlie Brown and Poor Franklin, and motherfucker Peppermint Patty, sir. So that's good. I like that. Alice's Restaurant is the greatest song maybe ever.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Alice's Restaurant?
I don't think so.
Okay. So everyone should go listen to Alice's Restaurant. Block out 17 minutes because that's how long it is.
Oh my God.
It's wonderful. It is a protest song about the Vietnam War. Jim would feel right at home. And it's Arlo Guthrie. And the version everybody knows is a live performance version of it. Because there's like some audience laughter and there's a little bit of that in there, but it's a live thing. But it's based on a true story, which I just learned like 3 years ago that this is something that really happened. This is a song about Alice and the restaurant, but Alice's Restaurant is not the name of the restaurant. It's just the name of the song about the restaurant. That's why they call the song Alice's Restaurant. But Alice doesn't live at the restaurant. Alice lives at the church nearby the restaurant. And he was going over there to have a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat. And since they lived in the church and they had taken out all the pews and having all this room down in the church where the pews used to be, they just decided they didn't need to take out their garbage. They would just let their garbage pile up there. So trying to be helpful, he loaded up the garbage in his VW microbus to take it to the dump. But the dump is closed. Now, he'd never heard of a dump being closed on Thanksgiving, but it was, friends. And so they're driving back, trying to think what they can do with the garbage, and they look down the side of this hill, and there's another pile of garbage. And they thought that one pile of garbage is better than two piles of garbage, and rather than bring that one up, they threw this one down.
Oh, my God.
And then they're arrested. And they had to pay $50 and pick up the garbage. And there's a whole thing about 37 8x10 color glossy photographs with circles and arrows on the back of each one, explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us in the court of law. And Officer Obi and Blind Justice. But there's really what this song is about is not, and that's when Alice, remember Alice? Is a song about Alice. She comes and bails them out of jail, and they go back and they have a second Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat. And but what this song's really about is the war, because he's brought in, he gets his draft thing, and but he can't go to the draft because he was arrested. He can't go and burn villages and babies because he's so not moral, because he's a litter bug. And the song's hilarious, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on. So I love Alice's Restaurant, and that's the best Thanksgiving related thing out there. Closely followed by Turkeys Away, the WKRP episode that I explained to you before we started the episode. I recommend highly both of those things every year. They're wonderful. And I also really love what we're going to watch this week for the Peach Pod After Dark. Because there aren't a whole lot of Thanksgiving movies out there, but Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is one of them. And it's fucking funny. And it's touching. but mostly it's just really funny. So love Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and so we're going to watch that this week for the After Dark. But that's what it is for me. Like, those are the things. There's not a whole lot of media, like good Thanksgiving episodes of things that stick out.
Yeah.
But Alice's Restaurant and WKRP, super top of the list. And I'm wearing my WKRP t-shirt, if you hadn't noticed at home, Cheesemeisters, for the annual turkey drop. That's right. Half a body. You get to calm down, everybody.
Your fans got very excited there. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
That's right. You're welcome.
Weeks later, but happy Thanksgiving.
That's right. All right. Who is your Steve Sanders Memorial worst person of the episode?
Why, it's the mother of the person this is named after. It's Samantha Sanders. Welcome down. You suck.
Yeah.
You are. Yeah. It's her for everything that we have already said. And
yep. All right. It could be Jack because he's a shitty house guest. It could be Jim because Jim is just bringing all of his own personal baggage to bear on Jack Canter, and gets free roof repair out of it, at least a little bit, temporary roof repair. Could be Dylan because Dylan's just a shithead to Jack.
Yeah.
And obviously the Kelly and Brenda of it all at the end of the episode. Could be Samantha. 100% could be Samantha. But for me, it's Steve. Because Steve is, and it's almost not even, I mean, he is being manipulative. He's trying to manipulate his mom live in front of God and everybody and get away with some bullshit. And he fucking does successfully because he knows his audience. But it's the total lack of consequences.
Yeah.
Like, he committed a crime. And he tried to pin it on fucking Herbert's ponytail. And instead of, like, the consequence he gets is to mope for about 4 days. Yeah. And then
over 2 milkshakes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Look, don't drink milkshakes. This is an ice cream.
Yes, I noted it.
Okay, good. Do we have a total?
Oh, let me look it up while you finish your thought.
Okay. But all he gets is laid. And, like, comes in and has to, like, sit in the principal's office. And the hardest thing he has to do is not smile. Like, he just has to sit there and not act like he just had the best week of his life and is not going to just totally get away with all of this shit.
Yeah.
And he can't even do that.
The tally is 21 for condoms and 15 for ice cream. So ice cream is coming back up.
Ice cream's getting a catch up. All right, I like it. Good. Anything else for this episode?
No. We covered, I think we covered everything we needed to cover.
I think so. We covered it with a tarp that was in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So next week, Cheesemeisters, one, join us here on Friday for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which Leslie has not seen. So that'll be kind of fun. And join us next week for season 3, episode 16. It's a Totally Happening Life.
The title.
I mean, look, it doesn't. The title is ridiculous, and the episode doesn't get less ridiculous. Not once. It is ridiculous from the start all the way through the end.
Is Gil finally going to be arrested for attempting murder on Andrea Zimmerman? Will not.
No. Not next week. No one is arrested for trying to kill Andrea next week. But so much other stuff happens. Like, they find the goofiest way to advance some storylines in big old chunks. And I love it. Next week is one of those episodes that I love because of how dopey it is.
Awesome.
Nope. I don't love it as much as Home and Away, but I love it. So, yeah. Until then, Cheesemeisters.
Bye.
Bye.